Joining us now on the phone is Gavin Lee, a BBC journalist who was in Saint-Denis and who was there as those raids unfolded. Gavin, where are you now and what is the scene?
Well, to give you a sense of this area, I'm in the middle of Saint-Denis at the moment. I'm on the busiest shopping street in the north of east of Paris for this area. It's called Rue de la République. It's on the corner of Rue Fontaine, and this basically a number of shops. There are apartments above it. There's an orange store, a mobile phone store. Above that is where the raid took place this morning. At least one of the raids is still unclear how many there have been, but this, from my information from police sources here, is the main area where it's thought that Abdul Hamid Abu Aoud, this Belgian national who's thought to have been in Syria, was said to be hiding out. That he wasn't in Syria. This is a man behind some gruesome so-called Islamic State videos of killings, driving the bodies of Syrian soldiers. Who has called for these attacks, the main organiser. Now, let me bring it to, first of all, what I can see around me. I can see 3-4 forensic teams, all in white, going in and out of the apartment, 4 fire engines around it, probably about 300-400 people who were earlier evacuated behind a cordon, which has just been moved, so we're very close. I'm probably about 50 yards now from this scene of the raid this morning. It's over now, we're pretty sure. It lasted about 7 hours. So repeating this about sporadic gunfire, we heard and saw some of that earlier. Just to give you a sense as well of where we are, I've just got the phone to the Paris prosecutor to get the latest in terms of those who have been inside the apartment. We're told 2 people there. This is a female suicide bomber. Another person who was, we believe, shot with sniper fire, and also a grenade, we're told. The locals here say there were grenades. Police sources here said that this is how the second suspect was killed in the Paris attack. 5 people now being questioned by police. Special forces went in a short while, over the 7-hour period, I should say. They're having their DNA checked, their fingerprints checked in the last half hour, I've been told. In terms of the casualties, 5 police officers injured in this raid. 1 police dog, a dog called Diesel, we've been told in the last half an hour, has been killed as he approached, we believe, the suicide bomber, one of the first to arrive at the scene.
Gavin, you were there earlier when the raid was unfolding. Can you give us a sense of just what it looked and sounded like when police went looking for Abu?
Well, I got here to hear the sound of volleys of gunfire, sounds of explosions. I spoke to someone who was here from 4 o'clock. Basically, you've got a pretty tight street here. Lots of apartments above it, lots of people looking at me out the window at the moment. They've been here in the early hours filming what's been going on, offered to tell it to journalists. There's one small boy I met, 12-year-old Ashraf, who lived next door to this apartment. He said it's the most terrifying ordeal he's ever been through. He was crouched in his cupboard, he said, with his family. His mother said to hide inside the cupboard. He said he heard what sounded like an earthquake, he said, with a grenade fire. He was there for 4 hours. And the woman underneath, the pregnant woman underneath, who was in her bathroom, said she felt like the ceiling of the bathroom was going to come through. She was petrified. She said she grabbed her child, a young child, and she hid in the bathroom as well, again for 4 hours. People coming out here, absolute shock and terror, people shaking when they were first coming out of the area, told them to run away quickly by the police. I spoke to a few of them, visibly, viscerally as well, in grief, shaking, and sweating, and many in tears as well.
Gavin, do you know if Saint-Denis is a place where there have been links to other radical activity? Is this a place that is known to be a place where jihadis travel through? Because the town of Molenbeek in Brussels certainly was known as a place where jihadis gathered and yes, people who were connected with radical activity transited through there. Is Saint-Denis like that?
Well, it's interesting. With Molenbeek, this district of Brussels, we can connect at least 3 major terrorist incidents. The train attack, which we know that the 3 American soldiers stopped the suspect who was from Molenbeek earlier this year. The killing of 5 people at a Jewish museum 2 years ago in Brussels. The suspect was from the same area, and the Madrid bombings, the Moroccan suspect, also from that same area in Brussels. This area, well, I've been asking the same question this morning. People that live here, one American that Martin Lawrence, who he said he's been living here for 3 years. He said there's a lot of gun crime. He said this is a place that's very deprived. It's a place that's known for sort of petty crime, but also for gun running, not necessarily with jihadist incidents. There hasn't been a single incident that I'm aware of, certainly in the last couple of years, which have been directly linked to Saint-Denis. But clearly there's a cell here, and if it is true that the organizer of these attacks, who was supposed to be in Syria, has come to this area, it appears, let's face it, that this has been a hub for some time, that there has been an ease. At least think about this as well. We are on the main high street. One of the most wanted men, not just in France but in Europe right now, for these horrendous videos in so-called Islamic State, for calling for the uprising of these attacks of jihadists in the area, to be on the main high street, a part of this area, leaves a lot to wonder about, of how this could have got to this point. But just as I talk to you at the moment, 4 police vehicles have just left the area. They've gathered equipment from the apartment. It looks like computer storage facilities as well in boxes, and moving it away.
All right, Gavin Lee from the BBC, we thank you so much for that report.